If you're just joining us tonight, you need to understand very clearly what happened in Washington at exactly 12:03 a.m. It was one of those moments that redraw the lines of American politics and separate before from after. This was not a daytime headline, a staged press conference, or a routine late-week ruling. It arrived in the dead of night when the city was quiet and power brokers assumed nothing major would happen. If you believe no one should be above the law, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Here's the thing about federal judges and midnight rulings: they almost never happen. Courts are meant to be slow, careful, and methodical, with decisions taking weeks or months. Judges usually weigh every word, every precedent, and every legal argument with extreme precision. But in this case, a judge decided that waiting was no longer acceptable. Trump's legal team had assumed delays and maneuvering would protect them, and they were wrong. This case had been moving quietly through the federal courts, mostly out of public view. Motions were filed, hearings were held, and arguments were wrapped in dense legal language. Behind the scenes, however, something far more significant was unfolding. A federal judge had spent weeks reviewing classified materials in closed sessions with no leaks. There were no headlines, no pundits, and no public spectacle, until tonight. Picture the scene just past midnight inside the nearly empty federal courthouse. Long hallways were silent, lit by humming fluorescent lights, with security guards sitting at their desks. Deep inside, the judge sat alone in a wood-paneled chamber surrounded by stacks of legal documents. Highlighters, transcripts, and redacted pages covered the desk as the clock approached 12:03 a.m. across town. Trump's legal team slept, believing they still had time. At 12:03 a.m., the judge signed a ruling that was anything but routine. It was a sweeping, decisive order that would shake Washington within minutes. As soon as it was filed electronically, phones inside law offices began buzzing. One alert turned into several, then dozens. Within 10 minutes, every major legal team connected to the case was awake. So what did this midnight ruling actually say? First, the judge fully rejected Trump's request to keep certain documents sealed. The ruling stated that continued secrecy served personal and political interests, not national security. Second, the judge ordered the immediate release of previously classified materials. Third, the court suggested Trump's legal tactics bordered on obstruction of justice. Then came the part that truly stunned insiders. The judge scheduled a special evidentiary hearing in just 72 hours. Trump himself could be compelled to testify under oath at that hearing. There would be no more delays, no more legal maneuvering, and no more procedural games. The clock, for the first time, was firmly against him. According to sources, Trump was informed of the ruling in the early hours of the morning. It was not a calm briefing from his lawyers but a frantic phone call. Those close to him said his initial reaction was silence, followed by anger. All eyes began texting, calling, and scrambling for damage control. For the first time, Trump appeared boxed in rather than in control. Let's pause here, because this is about more than legal drama, it's about accountability. For years, Trump operated in a gray zone where power and politics shielded him. Investigations stalled, cases dragged on, and documents stayed sealed. Tonight, that changed when the judge slammed the door on secrecy. The released materials now offer a clearer picture of what Trump knew and hid. I need to pause right here. If you believe powerful people should face consequences, hit like now. Share this video and leave a comment to push it through the algorithm. Stories like this often get buried unless viewers take action. You decide what reaches more people and what gets ignored. Within hours of the filing, Washington exploded into chaos. Cable networks cut into programming, legal analysts rushed onto screens, and social media lit up with speculation. Trump's allies immediately began framing the ruling as judicial overreach and a politically motivated attack. Meanwhile, legal experts pointed out that midnight rulings of this nature are usually reserved for matters of extreme urgency or overwhelming evidence. The timing alone suggested the judge believed delay would risk justice itself. Inside Trump's inner circle, the mood shifted from confidence to damage control. Senior advisors began drafting statements while others scrambled to prepare for the 72-hour hearing. Some urged Trump to cooperate, while others insisted on a combative approach. According to insiders, the former president was furious that a single judge had effectively cornered him. Yet, for the first time, there were no easy legal escape routes left. The documents ordered for release were reportedly far more damaging than anyone anticipated. They allegedly contained internal communications, sworn testimonies, and financial records that contradicted Trump's previous public statements. More importantly, they appeared to connect him directly to actions his legal team had repeatedly denied. For the first time, this wasn't just about interpretation, it was about hard evidence. As dawn broke over Washington, protesters and supporters alike gathered outside the courthouse. Some held signs demanding transparency, while others decried what they called a witch hunt. Reporters stood shoulder to shoulder, waiting for the first official statements. Inside, the legal machinery was already grinding toward the unprecedented hearing scheduled just days away. Let me be absolutely clear, this ruling does not convict Trump. Courts decide guilt, not YouTube videos or pundits. But what it does is force everything into the light where it can no longer be hidden. It strips away delay, secrecy, and legal gamesmanship. For the first time in years, Trump will have to confront questions he cannot dodge. And here's why this matters beyond one man. If a former president can evade scrutiny forever, then no one truly answers to the law. This ruling signals that at least one federal judge believes accountability must come before politics. It sets a powerful precedent that even the most influential figures cannot operate in darkness indefinitely. Already, other investigations have begun to move faster in response to the ruling. Congressional committees are revisiting stalled subpoenas, and prosecutors are reviewing related cases. What happened at 12:03 a.m. didn't just affect one trial, it shifted the entire legal landscape. Washington will never look at Trump's cases the same way again. Trump's legal team now faces a nearly impossible challenge. They must prepare for testimony, respond to newly released evidence, and craft a defense in just 3 days. Every word Trump says under oath could have massive consequences. One misstep, one contradiction, and the case could spiral beyond their control. I keep thinking about that moment at midnight when the judge signed the order. A single pen stroke altered the trajectory of American politics. It was quiet, unseen, and deeply consequential. No cameras, no speeches, just the slow, deliberate power of the law asserting itself. If this story matters to you, don't just watch, act. Like this video so more people see it. Share it with someone who needs to understand what's happening. Leave a comment, because your voice helps keep this conversation alive. The truth doesn't spread by accident. It spreads because people choose to amplify it. In the coming days, every headline will revolve around that hearing. Every question, every piece of testimony, every revelation will be scrutinized. This is no longer speculation or rumor. It is a legal reckoning in real time. Whether Trump cooperates or fights, the process is now unstoppable. One thing is certain, Trump never saw this coming. He assumed delay would be his shield and midnight would be his cover. Instead, midnight became his greatest vulnerability. A judge in an empty courthouse changed everything while the city slept. Stay with this story, because this is only the beginning. What happens in that 72-hour hearing could define not just Trump's future, but the future of presidential accountability. When the next chapter unfolds, and it will, you'll want to be right here. And remember this: power tested in the darkness reveals its true shape in the light. Tonight, that light is shining brighter than ever.